on paper. For a brief time, maybe not so brief a time, Facebook might want to change its name to In Your Facebook. Then I suspect the realities will hit, and the stock that kept going up will face the pressure of real problems that even now are piling up. So many dots, so few connecting. That is what happens in bubbles, my friends.
That was a Facebook flashback. Neil warning investors right here on this show. Only a week later, it looks like he's right already. Shares collapsing around 16% since Facebook's debut last Friday. Lots of selling. And marketing expert Jeff Hayzlett says nobody's buying because they don't want to buy into Mark Zuckerberg. Is that what this is all about now? Mark Zuckerberg, who just 2 weeks ago in the Road Show had the paparazzi. He was like a rock star. He's gone from rock star to rock bottom in just 2 weeks.
That's right. Well, I tell you what, Charles, you're exactly right. I mean, but the problem was he's dressed up in a hoodie, showing around, and you don't want to put your money in a piggy bank and then give it to a guy that's dressed in a hood. I'm sorry. It's just not something that people want to do. And it's coming down to a fundamental issue around trust. And I think that's what they're seeing here. I mean, these guys have lower ratings of approval ratings than the President of the United States. 41% of the people are actually saying that they don't even know if it's a long-term investment. 46% of the people are saying that they wouldn't see the company survive long-term. Most people are sitting there saying that they don't trust them with their personal information, they don't click on the ads, and they're not going to buy a product or service. These guys got a basic trust issue, and it all comes down to leadership, and it always has.
But, Jeff Hayzlett, here's the thing, though. If this stock, if they would have IPO'd this at 25, it opened at 32, closed at 40, wouldn't we have a different conversation right now?
I think we would have had a little bit of a different conversation, but not really. I think overall, I've asked my Facebook fans, I've asked my Twitter followers, what was the big thing? And they presented two things. One, they really have an issue around the privacy. And I've said from the beginning, and I think Neil's been spot on about guessing about this, or at least predicting it, is that people don't fundamentally trust people who willy-nilly change these kinds of things. And it's an issue for people. And so they're not about to put their money in a company that's going to be doing this. And I don't think people ever bought into the valuation of the company. Come on, they're going to do $5 billion this year, and yet, 100 times net earnings. I heard this over and over and over on Facebook today.
Right. Now, here's the thing, though, Jeff. There's a difference between the professionals who crunch the numbers and say they just can't connect the dots, and maybe a large part of that 900 million Facebook users who just sort of said, I like the product, I think it's going to work, because I got to tell you something. I ran into a whole bunch of people like that. Of course, they've been burned, but now they believe maybe they have no choice.
Well, I think this is a real good case where users don't equate to investors, and I think that's an important thing for us to remember. It's great for the numbers, it's great for the ads, it's great to get the clicks, it's great for advertisers, but it's not really good for investors. I think a lot of people said, look, I've been burned before in these IPOs, and I'm going to wait and see, and that's what they've indeed done. And in this case, they were right.
Now, the guys at Google brought in adult supervision until they felt that maybe they can sort of do it on their own. And it looks like that worked out pretty good. Could the scenario in your mind change a little bit at Facebook if Zuckerberg said, you know what, maybe this is going to be tougher than I thought. Maybe it takes more than being cool and wearing a hoodie to being a publicly traded company.
Well, I'd like to say for all the gray hair people out there, there's a need for some gray hair here. There's need for some sage advice in order to be able to put your trust in a company that you want to invest in. I can't get enough of this in terms of saying it's important for them to gain trust with their customers. They've yet to put the customer at the center. They talk about that, and I love Facebook. I advertise on Facebook. I use it to push my books. I use it to push my clients, and I love that aspect of it. I don't know from giving all my life savings to it whether I'm willing to do that. And I think they've got to bring up that trust. They've got to get higher ratings than the President of the United States before people are going to want to put money into it.
Well, I got to tell you, Jeff, I think what happened last Friday was the personification of greed. And while I'm not against greed, I think the guys at Silicon Valley are greedy and phony, and that's not a good equation. Thanks a lot. We really appreciate your expertise. Have a great holiday weekend.
Thanks for being my friend.
Yeah, you got it. Investors are bolting Facebook, but Facebook causing spouses to act.